Could say wisely getting out of the way. A whole lot of second.
Oh my
God! No way!
Why don't we, for the first time in a long time, me and Prime are going to talk about Monday Night Raw.
You're going to talk about it. I'm going to just comment.
Look, me and Prime have not done a Raw review in months, okay? And to be fair, we have not watched Raw. Prime has not watched Raw longer than I have. So to be fair. But, but they're about to move out the Thunderdome. So I've been hearing that their shows have been pretty strong since they're about to move out the Thunderdome. And I was like, well, let me just see for myself, because me and Prime, I still plan on doing it. Plan on reviewing the old school Raw shows.
Okay.
Would you still be interested in that?
Yeah, it'd be better than what we're doing now for current Raw.
You're right. So Raw kicks off. Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce, they're backstage and they're talking about due to circumstances beyond their control. Because once again, I remind everybody, I have not watched Raw in over about 2 months because of been dealing with my mother. So I don't even know how RK Bro became a thing. But Randy Orton is unable to compete in the main.
Wait, real quick. How do you think it became a thing? How do you think it became a thing? And that's probably how it became a thing.
Okay, well, if I'm going to my wrestling knowledge here, I'm going to think that Randy Orton needed a partner in order to face Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley, I'm guessing. And he decided to go in it by himself, but then Riddle decided that he wanted to help him out, and they end up winning. Because, like I said, I haven't seen Raw, so I don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden, Riddle wants to be like his it's kind of like a Drake Maverick and Killian Dame thing. Like, Riddle really wants to impress Randy and be his partner, but Randy is not accepting it or making him do all other kind of things. Is that how it happened?
Not quite, but it's kind of close.
Okay.
Pretty much. Matt Riddle was scooting in the back. He was like, "Whoa, Randy Orton, dude. You know, you're my favorite wrestler, man. I would like to tag with you one day." And then he just scooted off. Randy was like, "All right." And then I think somehow, some way, they was fighting two enemies. And he you know, obviously, you know, when one of them come out, Matt Riddle came out, and they were just a team. But now it's like Matt Riddle was just like, "Yeah, we're a team," and Randy's just like, and he walks off. It's like rock and sock.
Wow. Also, I guess I was close.
They even do each other's finishes.
I did see a clip of Matt Riddle doing RKO.
Yes, and then Randy Orton did Matt Riddle's finisher.
Oh God.
So, whatever reason. Oh yeah, we'll get to it. Well, yeah.
Okay, so for some reason Reigns not on the show today. I didn't know if he was injured or something happened last week that I missed, but
no, no reason. Literally, like there was no reason.
No reason. Gotcha. So, there will be an over top rope battle royal to determine who will replace Randy Orton in the match. And Riddle says, "Well, look, man, I feel really bad about what happened last week. Like I said, I don't know what happened last week." So I was like, "Well, what happened?" Because Riddle's in the match.
He lost to Morrison.
Oh, okay. I was saying because Riddle's in the match, and he says, "Let me go in there."
Randy lost to Morrison.
Oh, okay, to Morrison. He said, "Let me go in there as Randy, and I'll go to Battle Royal, and then I'll go into Triple Threat, and then I win, and then Randy." Can you imagine RK Bro climbing the ladder and winning the Money in the Bank? Like, he was really angry. So he brought out a letter. The letter had me dying though. It said, "Loa, I, the Viper Randy Orton of sound body and mind, hereby declare that my best friend Riddle, hinder force, take my place in tonight's last chance triple threat match." Clearly written by Riddle. I was like, okay, a little good comedy there. So
I don't know if that's good comedy or bad comedy. I don't know.
I don't know.
Because it's like,
I think because Riddle's doing it, it's making me laugh a little bit.
I know it's Riddle's doing it, but I'm like, is he an idiot? Because his letters are spelled backwards with the S was backwards and some letters is backwards and upside down. I'm like, what is he, Bart Simpson? What is like? So he can't write. He can't write English now. Is what you're telling me?
Yeah, well, that's what it sounds like. Right. So, well, now the battle royal begins, and then so he gets the only entrance. So I'm like, well, we know who wins this one.
But I got so many problems with this.
Okay, go ahead.
Damian Priest just makes his return to nothing.
Here's the thing: I didn't know he was gone. What happened to Damian Priest?
He was hurt ever since the night after WrestleMania. He hasn't been there.
No, he was there for WrestleMania Backlash.
Okay, ever since those zombies, he hasn't been there.
Oh, okay.
So since WrestleMania Backlash, he has not been there at all. And he comes back. They ain't even announce him. They ain't say like welcome back. They ain't say nothing. He was just like there with a jobber entrance.
Wow. Yeah, because I was like, where are the other entrances? Jinder Mahal was in there. Then I was like, okay. Then they had Kira Tozawa and R-Truth and Drew Gulak, Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander, Jeff Hardy. I'm just like, okay.
Last week, after Drew McIntyre lost, Cedric, Jinder, and Jeff Hardy was mad because it was like, how does Jinder get a second chance? I mean, how does Drew get a second chance even though he just lost his match, but we haven't even gotten a chance at all? So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that does make sense.
Yeah. But I mean, they're having fans come back. I'm like, why would you not want Jeff Hardy? Because Jeff Hardy. No, but I'm saying Jeff Hardy is supposed to change his theme song when fans come back. So like, I want you to have him come out in Money in the Bank, the first show with fans, so that he can play his No More Words theme song. Unless they wait for SummerSlam.
I mean, probably because right now he don't have a rivalry to be on the show in the first place. Or a
he
match.
can be the Money in the Bank. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just say yeah, but I mean, since now they wanted to do this whole Riddle storyline. Well, oh, and Mansoor's in here. So look, make a long story short.
Just real quick though.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have the return of Jeff Hardy's No More Words, you should do it at SummerSlam where you were in this football stadium. But
I agree.
But I'm saying, like, he can't just be like in the battle royal and he come out to. He gotta have like a marquee match or something, right?
I hope so. Because
and another thing,
they're trying to make SummerSlam really big. So
another question I have: can he just retire? Like, okay, not just. I mean, like, can he say like I'm going to retire just to get out of his WWE contract and then come back and go to AEW? Or can you not do that?
I don't think you can do that.
Gronk? Well, no, actually, Gronk did get traded, so never mind.
Yeah, I don't think. I'm sure a lot of people do it, but I don't think you can do that.
Jeff Hardy, I think I'm gonna retire, and then like 2 months later,
yeah.
What's Jeff Hardy doing in AEW?
Yeah, I definitely said he will definitely go to AEW and join them. So everybody gets tossed over the ropes. Jeff Hardy is giving everybody twist the face, but then Cedric tosses Jeff Hardy over the ropes. Then it's him, Drew, Riddle, and Jinder left. Jinder's out. Cedric gets God, I forgot what he got. He gets tossed out. R-Truth, Drew Gulak, and Kira Tozawa literally run a train on the 24/7 championship on the outside. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And finally at the end, Riddle tosses out Damian Priest. That's who it was that was left. Damian Priest, and he is going to go to a triple threat match with AJ Styles and Drew McIntyre later on in the night. So he's going for Randy Orton. So Shayna Baszler was backstage playing with a deck of cards because I learned and I actually looked at some of the videos going backwards about this Shayna Baszler versus this doll thing. This shit is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
This shit is all the way terrible. Nikki Cross, which I had to look back, is now a superhero. She calls herself Nikki Ash, almost a superhero because SHIT is going to work right now. And I'm like, wait a minute, why is she a superhero? Wait a minute, why are her and Alexa cool again?
Exactly.
Did I miss something, or they just drew that in there?
Nope, there's nothing.
So they have Nikki Cross taking on Shayna Baszler and with Nia Jax and Reginald. And I'm like, Reginald's still with them? Okay. So I missed a lot when you ain't watching like 2 months. Nikki Cross wins with a tilt-the-world roll-up for the win. This is what we're doing with Shayna Baszler, the Last Horseman. This is what we're doing with Shayna Baszler.
Yep.
Right. You absolutely right. So, we get a replay of last week of how Bobby destroyed Xavier in the Hell in the Cell. Kingston comes to the ring and they said there's certain moments in our lives that change for better or for worse. And he's not sure how last week has affected him yet, but here we're screaming pain and torture because it was a Hell in a Cell matchup, but he's going to be Bobby paying Money in the Bank. MVP comes to the stage with the ladies. I guess since we don't have Hurt Business, we're going to come there with ladies, but he's not there with no Bobby Lashley. He says, you thinking that you're going to beat Bobby Lashley is ridiculous. You think what Brock Lesnar did to you was bad? Bobby Lashley's going to be much worse. And then Kofi said, well, you know, where your champion is. He's scared because, you know, when I was champion, I was going there. I went to Africa. I see the kids there, and I came back and defended my championship for TV for 6 months and stuff like that. I took no days off when I was a champion, and your man sitting there getting to take days off for 3 weeks. You know, saying he's going to lose that championship, and then MVP basically says, you know, look, if he wasn't hurt, he coming to whoop Kofi's ass right now, but he is legitimately hurt, and he's not able to compete. Well, then Kofi said, well, you've been milking an injury for about a good couple months now. So he runs out to the ring and tries to attack MVP. MVP kind of like ducks and shows he's not injured, and then gets a trouble in paradise as Kingston lays him out. So you know what this means. Next week, MVP versus, you know, Kofi Kingston. What you could did though is if you had the Hurt Business, he wouldn't need to wrestle.
Yeah, true, but
just saying.
Weirdly enough, one of my I don't know, it's a weird number to have Kofi versus MVP for the US title.
You guys years ago.
Yeah, just I don't know why that randomly stuck in my head, but I'm like, yeah, I remember that being a good match, solid match.
Oh yeah, they're gonna probably have a solid match. Then we see Eva Marie and Doudrop. Why are they calling Piper Niven Doudrop?
Because I guess that's the name Eva.
That is so fucking disrespectful. So it's Asuka and Naomi taking on Eva Marie and Doudrop. Eva Marie doesn't get into the match because apparently last week Doudrop did not tag.
Okay, last week they broke up.
They broke up. Okay, so why are they coming out now?
And I don't know. Yes, exactly.
Oh, it's a headache. So apparently Doudrop they left and then Eva Marie got pinned. Good. So now they're having a rematch. So Naomi and Asuka are, you know, doing their best they can with Doudrop. But she finally fights them off. She's going for a tag. Eva Marie goes off the apron, doesn't want the tag, and then she just trucks Naomi out of nowhere. Has Asuka in the seated position. Does a running crossbody and pins Asuka. So
yeah, just pin one of the most dominant women who was just champion for over a year
with the running crossbody splash.
She was just the champion literally 2 months ago for a whole year. And now she's getting beat by Doudrop.
Yep.
All right.
And then so she wins the match. Eva fucking Marie grabs the microphone and announces herself as the winner. And Doudrop, Piper Niven isn't happy. I was like, why stop calling this woman this? Miz and Morrison are backstage talking about Morrison's chances of winning the briefcase, and Miz and Morrison is guaranteed to win because he already won the match more than once. Then Ricochet interrupts and then he steals the drip stick and sprays them with it. Why is Morrison this drip guy there? I don't get it.
I don't know, but you know.
Ricochet and John going against John Morrison. The matchup is really good. Why is Ricochet? Now, please tell me if I missed something. Why is he wrestling in jeans?
No, we don't know.
I'm like,
he came out for an open challenge. and he was in jeans, and he just kept them on.
I'm like, okay, because I'm like he about to be like a street fighter or something. But
that's like when Cesaro was announced as the Mr. Opponent, and it was like, oh, he's not ready because he got on his suit, and he ripped it off. Then he just started coming out with a suit after that.
Oh wow. Well, so the match is actually pretty good because these two both know how to wrestle, and it's good. The Miz
Johnny Mundo versus Prince Puma.
Prince Puma, yeah. So there you go. Then we have the Miz on the outside in a wheelchair because he's still has the ACL tear. There's a move that Ricochet does. He runs up the side of Miz's wheelchair and then does a Hurricane Rana or a head scissors takeover to Morrison. I thought that was dope. But then Miz goes for the Starship Pain. Nobody's home. And he rolls out on the apron, and Ricochet connects with a springboard dropkick, knocks him out to the floor. So Morrison sits on the barricade to avoid the dive and mock Ricochet. But Ricochet's like, no, I'm Ricochet, son of a bitch. And does a springboard crossbody from the ring to Morrison seated up on the barricade, and that joint just looks sick. And I kind of was like, they probably had to do this spot now because this would have been a good spot to do at Money in the Bank, but I forgot there's going to be fans there. And that just looked crazy.
You can still do that with fans there. They be going crazy.
They would be, but it also you will fall into the fans, and then you're not going to have a good landing because you got to fall into them chairs and stuff. And the way
Johnny can take it.
Bro, you crazy as hell. You crazy as hell.
Did you not see the spot? He took a spot off the ladder and fell through. Did he do that last year?
I think he did.
Well, he can't fall on some chairs with fans on him.
Well, I mean, because his head and neck is what I'm worried about. Not falling around your back.
Okay.
So it's a double count out, and I was like, well, if there's any double count that I accept, it's going to be that one. So we have Charlotte, Tamina, and Natalya backstage talking about look, we may not like each other, but we all have a legacy that we have to hold up. And I'm like, well, more so, But we're going to teach Rhea Ripley, Dana Brooke, and Mandy Rose about respect. 6-woman tag team matchup is up there, and what happened to my girl Dana Brooke? She don't even look the same no more.
Surgery.
I was like, she don't even look the same no more. I was like, I miss my Dana Brooke who was thick, and now she getting all lean and Kurt Angle like, and I'm like, I don't see what's going on. I don't. This matchup is really forgettable as Charlotte hits a big boot on Mandy Rose and wins the matchup. That's
yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing much to see here.
As soon as the match ends, Ripley chop blocks Flair from behind and hightails as the Queen stares in fury. That's it. Jackson Riker's backstage slapping himself with a strap because that's an image I did not need to see. R-Truth runs past and asks, why is he doing it? Riker says he's preparing himself. He and Elias will bond together, and he's purging himself of weakness and finding out where to inflict the most pain. What?
Who knows?
Did you hear that shit?
I did.
Well, Truth wants to take it into lasso Tozawa. He's like, you know what? Never mind. Strap match. Elias versus Jackson Riker. I'm like, well, I don't need to see the meetings match. So, after Riker uses the strap and then puts Elias in the Boss Man Slam, which is just what I'm calling it, and wins the matchup. So, okay. Riddle's backstage warming up, talking about some be the Viper. And then Damon Priest comes back there and just says, look, hey man, if anybody's lucky to have you as a partner, it's definitely Randy. And he pull out the, no, be the Viper. So it's time for the main event. Drew McIntyre versus Riddle versus AJ Styles. So this matchup was one of the better Raw main events that we've had in a long time. As looking at it as just a match, it was a pretty good match.
Mm-hmm.
Riddle and AJ Styles team up and put Drew McIntyre through an announce table.
They didn't like last week's main event?
Are you talking the Hell in a Cell?
Yes, for no reason.
I mean, it was all the stuff for no reason. Well, you know what the reason was. Because they're like, well, Fox got a Hell in a Cell match on Smackdown, and we want a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, at least I would rather be like, nah, you can have it if you're gonna have a good match. Like, if you're not gonna have a good match, then why even?
Yeah, I mean, it was all right. It was all right, but I mean,
it was for look. I'm gonna say it's for no reason because we already knew it wasn't no like it didn't make a difference. That's my point. Like, you know.
It really did. It was like, yeah, I just want a Hell in a Cell match too. Like really, that's what all it was. So, they slammed Drew McIntyre through the table. So then now it's time for this Riddle and AJ Styles to go ahead and do their thing, and they're having some great back and forth action. Also, almost standing right there on the outside, and Riddle wants to go for an RKO, but AJ hits him with a burning hammer. That was sick. And for McIntyre pulls himself up and then runs into the barricade, runs AJ to the barricade post repeatedly. Like that looked like it sucked too. Riddle tries to hit McIntyre, but misses and hits the steel steps with his foot. So now his foot is injured, and then they had to go take him to the back. I said, okay, I know what's going to happen. They're going to take him to the back. He's going to come back down and do the whole big victory type thing. So now it's just Drew and AJ tearing it up, and they are really tearing each other up with high belly to bellies and high back body drops and everything. AJ lands with a furious strikes, but Drew catches him with a Michinoku driver for a near fall. McIntyre runs for the Claymore, but AJ caught him with a chop block, and then Styles applies the calf crusher, kind of. And as Drew screams, Riddle comes limping down, and then gets AJ in a rear naked choke, but AJ elbows out of it. Riddle knocks McIntyre outside. So then hits AJ with a knee, and then catches him with an RKO. And I was like, not a bad RKO, Riddle. He goes and covers him, but almost pulls AJ out the ring. And then when Riddle gets up, bam, gets hit with a Claymore kick. 1, 2, 3. That's the win. Impressive showing by Riddle for the Matt Riddle show, but Drew McIntyre is going to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view.
I hate it.
I figured you would hate him going to Money in the
Bank. I'm just tired. Like he first of all, he had an opportunity. First of all, he had like 3 opportunities to fight Lashley, and he lost them all. And then he got a qualifying match to fight Lashley. He lost that. Then he had another qualifying match, and then he won that. Now he's in the match to maybe potentially fight Lashley again.
Well, remember, he can't fight Lashley as long as he's the champion.
But if he wins Winning the Bank, you can do whatever you want. Which is my point.
Yeah. I mean, trust me, I think it sucks too, but I don't want Randy Orton in the match, though. I'm tired of seeing Randy Orton in these ladder matches to doing nothing.
I don't either.
So that's what I'm saying. So Riddle had to lose. AJ obviously is going to be in a tag team with Omos going up against the Viking Raiders. So I knew AJ wasn't going to win. Yeah, so it's like, do I either want Randy or Drew? So I'm like, I'll take a Claymore over RKO right now.
Well, last week, Jinder, Cedric, and Jeff Hardy was like, what if we injure Drew? Then can we be put in the match? And it was like, yeah. So,
that would be a cool line to say if they were, I don't know, the Hurt Business, but let me not beat a dead horse here.
They were just mad because they went in the match. So it's like, what if we injure one of the people, or if one of the people mysteriously get injured, can we be in the match? And they said, yeah. So I think Drew might have to be that guy that gets injured.
He might have to be. He might have to. So would you think Cedric will take a spot then?
I can see either Jeff or Jinder.
Jinder.
Maybe Jeff, since it's a ladder match. He can die.
Okay. Well,
you got Morrison, Ricochet, Jeff in the ladder match. Jeff is the one that's dying.
You're right. I'm curious to see who's going to, be on the SmackDown side. Well, guys, that was our Raw review.
Spanish fly from the ladder to another ladder. hanging over the barricade.
Yeah, it's gonna be
and calling
crazy.
it.
It's gonna be crazy. We that's our Raw review. So it felt pretty good to talk to my homie and do the Raw review again, stuff like that. So we're gonna move on to the last two things of the podcast that we got to move on to.